Hi, John Hess from FilmmakerIQ.com. In this little IQ Bits video, I want to talk about using these relatively inexpensive DJ lights to light a set. Now this year I decided to redo the lighting on our set from these old bulky par lights, these incandescent par lights, to these smaller, more efficient LED lighting. Now there are a number of reasons why. First, I was encountering a power issue. I had about 5 par lights each running these 500 watt bulbs. With all of them running at full blast, that's just over 20 amps, enough to blow the fuse. Now with my set being quite small, I rarely ran them at full power, closer to 10 to 25% of full power, which meant they ran very warm, color balance wise, somewhere between 2500 and 2700 Kelvin range. And they were warm not just in color temperature sense either. And since my studio isn't temperature controlled with the oncoming Southern California summer, I wasn't looking forward to shooting under these lights. Now, I had stayed away from LED because I had always thought they were more expensive per fixture. But I began seeing more LED pars on the market on Amazon and decided to pick up a few just to experiment with. I was also afraid that the dimming mechanism might use cheap PWM dimming and create weird camera effects, but apparently they don't, and it looks just fine on camera. So after some quick initial tests, I was pretty happy with the fixtures and ended up redoing the entire set. So let me break down the setup and hopefully give you some ideas on how to use these lights in your own small studio for vlogging or live streaming. Primarily, we use 2 kinds of DJ lighting. The first I got were these smaller DJ lights. They were called Lixada. It's a brand I've never heard of before. I'll put a link in the description. If you pick up 10 of them, you can get them as cheap as $18 a unit. Now they're only 15 watts and have a 25-degree coverage, which is really quite small, and they're really best to use as an accent lighting, relatively close up. If you're in a very confined and small space, they could definitely be used for key lighting. But on our stage, I use them to accent the columns behind me and also as some hair lighting. For key lighting, I need something with a little bit more punch. So I went with these Coidak. Again, it's a name I've never heard of. They're 60 watt fixtures. These are also 25-degree angle, but because they have more power, they will throw much farther than this 15 watt light. But 25 degrees is still relatively narrow. If you want to wash the set with light, you may be better off using a fluorescent box. Here I set up a couple LimoStudio fluorescents I had lying around the studio that I didn't particularly care for when using on location. They work better here as a general wash light if I want to give the studio a lower contrast day look like we're right now. Let's talk about how all of these are wired up, because that's probably the biggest leap when going from a traditional incandescent lighting grid to an LED DJ lighting setup. With traditional incandescent lighting setups, we have these dimmer packs that are controlled by a dimmer board. Now each channel on the dimmer board can be assigned to a pair of outlets on this dimmer pack. So DMX channel 1 on the dimmer board would be, let's say, this set of outlets here. Channel 2 could be this set, 3 and 4. Now this way each channel controls how much voltage flows from the outlet, thereby controlling how bright the lights are that are connected to that outlet. We can daisy chain these dimmer packs and then assign a starting DMX number. Say this second dimmer pack we assign to channel 5. So the first pair of outlets is addressed to channel 5, the second is addressed as channel 6, and so on. Well, the DMX setup with these LED DJ lights is a bit different. Instead of one DMX channel controlling a single light, each light is controlled by 8 channels. We'll go over what the different channels are in a second. Instead of one of these sliders controlling the brightness of the light, these 8 control different aspects of a single light. So to address different lights, we need to be able to switch between different groupings of channels. And on this mix board, those groupings are selected using the fixtures button on the left. Each fixture is a set of 16 DMX channels. So fixture 1 is 1 through 16, channels 1 through 16. Fixture 2 is channels 17 through 32, and so on. This mix board communicates with the lights using a wireless DMX transmitter and a wireless DMX receiver. Then the DMX signal is daisy-chained across all the lights. Now, to assign a light to a specific fixture number, we set the light's DMX to the starting DMX channel number of that fixture number. Now say I want this light to be operated when I press fixture 12 on my mix board. So I need to assign this light to DMX 177 because that's the grouping that fixture 12 covers, 177 to 192. Now we can assign more than one light to a fixture setting. In fact, it's usually a good idea to group lights together depending on their function. Actually, if we really wanted to, since each light only uses 8 channels and each fixture has 16 available channels, we could double up the number of lights we could independently control by simply adding 8 to the DMX channel we assigned light and then use the page A, page B function on the mix board. But frankly, 12 lights, 12 fixtures is enough for me. Anyhow, let's get back to what the channels actually do. The first channel will control the mode. Now there are preset modes from static color to, there's jump, there's fade, there's a sound activated version, and then there's strobe. But for our lighting of a set, I'll put it in 0, which is a DIY color setting. Channel 2 controls preset colors. Again, if we want full control, we want this at 0. There's an idea of all the preset colors that comes with right there. Channel 3 sets the speed of the strobe, and that's really not important to me since I'm never going to use strobe or the fade. Channel 4 is the master dimmer, and channels 5, 6, 7, and 8 control the red, the green, the blue, and the white. With all 4 channels, let me get this shining in my face. With all 4 channels going, I think it looks a little too bluish for 5600 Kelvin. So I bring down the blue a little bit, and sometimes I just have to kind of tweak the green just a tad bit to get what I think looks like a neutral 5600 Kelvin looking white. And of course, should I ever feel like it, I can always, of course, go crazy with the colors and just create all kinds of crazy colors for my shot. Now, one thing I had to realize was this DIY coloring only works when channels 1 and 2 were set to 0. Otherwise, the preset colors kick in and you can't control the colors individually. And there you have it. That's a basic rundown of how these DJ LED lights work in a studio production setting. I'm still learning, I'm still experimenting and seeing what works for me and what doesn't. And you know what? It is pretty warm in here, but at least I'm not dying of heat stroke under these lights, and I shouldn't be blowing any fuses. I hope you got something useful out of this little behind the scenes look. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to click on that bell so you get notifications for all the content we create. And consider becoming a patron on Patreon, where every little bit helps us out at filmmakeriq.com. If you didn't like this video, well, I can't think of a better insult than to drop a couple $100 into our Patreon just to teach us a lesson. Well, until next time, I'm John Hess, and I will see you at filmmakeriq.com.